you, everyone, and I appreciate it. My name is Mohammed Abdelmegid. How to conceptualize digital twins communication. You think about digital twins, I think we can all establish that they are all of the presentations in this conference about digital. However, we think that a major problem in the implementation of digital twins in construction, especially in the execution phase of construction projects, is that most of the research is focusing on the technical side. Great, but sometimes we tend to forget about the social aspect as well of projects, because projects are done by people. And this was inspired by the work of the Gemini papers, which are part of a national project in the UK for widespread implementation of digital twins for infrastructure projects. Social world is actually separate from the physical world. So they wanted to highlight the importance of social aspect of digital twins in construction, or in general, that was an infrastructure. Then we wanted to focus only on the delivery of construction projects. It was a conceptual framework where we look at both sides, the technical side as well as social side, and we look at that equally. First of all, to build this framework, we wanted to understand what we mean by digital twins. And there are multiple definitions for this term in the academia and even in the industry. And people sometimes tend to use different terminologies for the concept of digital twins. So we adopted the view that there are 3 layers or 3 levels of digital twinning, if I can say, starting from the lower layer, the digital model. And these arrows, by the way, these represent the data flow. And as you can see here, the dotted arrows mean that there is no direct or automated data flow between the physical side and the digital side. So starting from a digital model, then upgrading to a digital shadow, where we can automate the process of data capturing in one way, and then finally the digital twin, where we actually have 2 ways data flow between the physical and the digital model. So that was the first side of the framework, how we understand digital model or digital twins. And then we wanted to understand what we mean by socio-technical systems. And here we adopted a model that was proposed by Davis et al. 2014. By the way, this was also done at the University of Leeds. And in this model, they proposed 6 key components for socio-technical systems. And as you can see here, these components balance the social and the managerial and the technical side of systems. So the key idea here is that we need to think in systems. We shouldn't limit our thinking in one side, whether it is the technical side, the managerial side, or the social side, and so on. As you can see here, these components are actually interconnected as well. So to integrate these two, our understanding of digital twins and the socio-technical hexagon, we proposed a framework of 3 layers, starting with the first layer of the digital model. And as you can see here, the digital model somehow represents a static BIM model. So here we have a representation of reality of the physical site on computer, but we don't really have a mechanism where data can flow between the digital and the physical worlds. And we focused here on what are the requirements from different perspectives to ensure that we have a representative and useful and value-adding digital model. And I think that most organizations or most construction companies that do implement BIM are not bad, are okay at this level. Although I would claim that when it comes to value creation, and I think I can reflect on the presentation in this morning, the keynote speech by Professor Osama, where we need to highlight and focus more on on value generation from technology. So that was the first layer. Then we can upgrade that into the digital shadow. As you can see here now, the focus starts more on how to utilize the data that we collect from the site to inform decision making as project managers and decision makers. And here we need to establish better ways and better processes to ensure that actually the model now, or the shadow, creates better value. And so we need to focus more on data analytics. We need to focus on the security of the data and the models that we have. We need to train people to trust the results of the digital shadow, and so on. Sorry, I'm trying to run quickly through these layers due to time limitations, but I'm happy to discuss that later. Then the final layer would be now the digital twin. And now in the digital twin, the focus is actually more on the culture as well. So how can we ensure that people trust the twin? How can we ensure that the digital twin supports decision-making from a different perspective? So now we know that something will be automated, and our role is to observe and ensure that whatever decisions that are automated are still relevant, and that we actually foster a culture of sharing information, sharing learning, and so on. So you can see all of the different requirements that we are proposing, but this is just the highlight of our views on how to shift between digital model to shadow, and finally, the twin from a socio-technical perspective. The key conclusion here, or our final remarks, based on this discussion that we had, brainstorming sessions that we had, is we are proposing here an incremental process to implement digital twins. And we are taking the perspective of construction contractors, because we need to establish the business case for them to look holistically when they want to implement digital twins and invest in digital twins for their operations. And we try to balance the different requirements, whether they are social requirements or technical requirements. And the hope is that this will start a roadmap for wide-scale adoption of digital twins in the field of construction projects. What is next? We demonstrated the proposal in the paper through a case study, and this was a piling case study, so I highly welcome everyone to have a look at this case study, where we proposed how we can automate the process of piling operations through this proposed framework. So now we would like to validate the framework in a real-life case study. And what we are currently doing is that we are organizing a workshop with industry practitioners and experts in the field to ensure that the framework is relevant and it is actually going to make sense to industry practitioners. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that the team of researchers have actually different backgrounds. Two of us have extensive work experience in the construction industry before shifting to academia, And we hope these two represent the industry side. One is expert in digital twins, one is expert in socio-technical systems, and one is expert in information management in construction. And we thought that this would be a dream team where we can bring different views together to establish this proposal. And also what is next is to look at other factors, not only the social factors or the managerial factors. So keep in mind that other factors related to project or construction projects are related to policy, legal, and commercial factors. Thank you. Is this mean? Last point. Thank you. And the long-term impact of the proposal in this paper is to establish a comprehensive digital twin execution plan. And this plan can actually be used by contractors to facilitate contracts in construction projects. And we envisage that maybe in the future, we will have consultancies specialized only on implementing digital twins through this digital twin execution plan. Thank you.